Greeting kids and nerds and ladies universe and white and nerdy. It's been a while since we actually talked about Kung Fu Panda. And the last time that I did so, I covered all three movies and basically really established how all three movies are still great movies to see. Like it's a great trilogy. And they even have kind of announced here and there back when Kung Fu Panda 3 came out that there was going to be a Kung Fu Panda 2, not Kung Fu Panda 2, Kung Fu Panda 4, but really were not sure of how they wanted to do it. Until, well, that day had finally come. And we were checking out Kung Fu Panda 4 here on Lazy Universe, and I am going to be reviewing it and seeing everything that there is that this movie had to offer. And I really did enjoy this movie, but let's talk about more about that in detail. This will be my review, retrospective, whatever you want to call it, upon Kung Fu Panda 4. So if nobody has seen Kung Fu Panda 4 yet and you want to watch this review, just be forewarned that there will be spoilers. So please go and watch Kung Fu Panda 4 first, then come back and watch this review. Otherwise, just be forewarned for everybody once again that there will be spoilers in this review. Now, I was there when Kung Fu Panda 1 was a thing, when Kung Fu Panda 2 became a thing, and I even went into the theaters with a friend of mine to see a double feature of Kung Fu Panda 2 and X-Men First Class. And I enjoyed Kung Fu Panda 2. Like, that probably is my favorite out of the entire franchise. But Kung Fu Panda 4 for me was a film I was worth waiting for. And I wouldn't necessarily say that I was hyped up for it or anything, but it was a film that I was really excited for, one I really wanted to see and everything. And then finally, you had to wait and wait. It was going to come out um, basically a long time ago, and then they had to go back and redo everything. And then the pandemic hit, and then that had to be pushed back because it's like there's still a lot of movies thanks to the pandemic happening that still hasn't happened yet. So I mean, it's kind of sad that we still have to wait for those movies that were announced to eventually make it into the mainstream thing and highlight and everything. So Kung Fu Panda 4, now a friend of mine, when I bought this, he said, kind of lied to me, and I would explain that later, but he lied to me about one thing that would have probably made the movie, to me at least, I mean, it's still enjoyable, but what he told me would have made it even more enjoyable if that was true. So we are going to be taking a look at Kung Fu Panda 4, and I'm going to give you guys my thoughts and opinions, the good, the bad, everything else in between. And is this movie worth waiting for, in my opinion? I think it is. But let's dive into this, together and let's do some Kung Fu practice. So let's actually talk about Kung Fu Panda 2 here and what my opinions are on the movie. So after Poe's great and many accomplishments, he actually becomes the Dragon Warrior, and he ends up saving people upon saving people because, well, they need saving and they need a hero. But eventually, Master Shifu tells him, he says, you can't always be the Dragon Warrior because you have to be like me. So you have to choose a very worthy successor of a person that is willing to take your place. And which, as you can imagine, Poe is not very happy with his master that he had to choose a new successor, somebody else worthy of the Dragon Warrior mantle instead of himself. Unfortunately, I'm tempted to agree with that clip because it's like, are you guys really out of your damn mind that you still want Poe to be, young and everything? And I can respect that he basically is a young warrior. He has this, massive heart of gold, but he's this giant kung fu fanboy, and that does work in the comedy aspect. But here I was kind of hoping, and they do redeem themselves later on in the movie. I'm just doing that just to be a smartass and to make a joke and everything. But there is come a point in the movie where Poe does redeem himself, but for mostly it's him mostly whining and complaining the entire time, like, I don't want to grow up, I'm a Toys R Us kid, basically, kind of deal thing. And it becomes annoying the more that the film does it. They eventually stop, but it's mostly him just kind of like having this inner battle where it's like, I have to redeem myself, but I don't know how. And I really do think that the original trilogy is great at doing this because there are moments where he still acts like a child on the inside, but then he has moments where he does redeem himself, something that these movies do very well. It's just that I was hoping that when this point has come, he was ready and willing to basically accept that what's going to happen to him. That's kind of what they do. But I was kind of hoping because it's like, okay, these viewers that are going to watch Kung Fu Panda 4, we've seen the original trilogy. We grew up with these films. We aged. So it's kind of like we want Poe to age along with us, and that's not actually what happens. He basically, like, he never aged at all. He is immortal like we are. We have the Fountain of Youth. We just don't tell you all where it is. But that's what I was hoping. It's the kind of same thing. It's the kind of same thing with like Spider-Man with Marvel. They refuse to age the character, even though the readers have aged by this point by now. Especially if they have read him ever since he started in Amazing Fantasy. So it's kind of like they just refuse to move past this. But I will say the reason why my complaint only goes so far is because they do something even I didn't even see coming. They decided instead of Poe choosing somebody like himself, they decided to go with a completely different route in where we turn a villain into a hero, and a lot of people were complaining, and I think that that was a smart idea because they decided to take a criminal aspect and turn her into a hero, and that being a character, Zen. When we first meet Zen, she's this awesome female fox, and and she's a thief. And basically, what we can believe is that she is also a ninja and a very cool one. And of course, she doesn't lie to Poe because she's like, "Hey, if you can let me out of here, I can redeem myself, and I will no longer be a thief. I'll forever be a good warrior and a good friend to you." But then, as you could expect, yes, Zen is actually lying to Poe. She's lying to him to do everything that she wants because their main villain here worked for the main villain. Yeah, I knew that this twist was coming even before the movie admitted it. I'm like, yeah, Zen probably worked with our main villain in this movie. And in fact, yup, she actually does. Say one more dumb thing. I'm gonna say a lot of dumb things. Speaking of stupid, they do the stereotypical master versus student thing, and also Zen trying to change herself and being like, "No, I really did want to be your friend. I never wanted to really hurt you." I know it's like they try to do something that makes the movie more worth watching, but it's also a very stupid decision for them. Speaking of stupid, however, though, a lot of people were complaining when this movie came out, especially even since it was getting like good ratings on like Cinema Score, Rotten Tomatoes, and other sites like that. People were mostly complaining, if you can believe this or not, just because Aquafina voices Sen. I really don't understand the hate with the woman. Why do so many people hate this woman? Is it because she has one go-to voice for herself? You do know that voice actors are asked if they can kind of change something up if they can, right? You do know this. They do ask them. And if they're happy with Aquafina's normal speaking voice, they'll just tell her, like, oh yeah, you did a good job, we're happy with that and everything. Because do you know how many takes that they do for voice acting roles? Tons, and I do mean tons. They will sit there for about like an entire day or even half a day just working with this person to try to get a certain scene to sound the way that they want it to in their heads. Like when they're reading it on paper, they have a team of people sitting watching them, making sure that like you can hit that right point that they want. I don't really understand why people have to really complain about her as a voice actress or even as an actress. I really do enjoy her. I think that she's hysterical. I think that she is an awesome woman. So I do have to kind of say, if people do have a problem with Aquafina becoming a voice actor, I have this clip to use as my advantage. You in a room full of cops? You have to me all the time. Fuck you, Kyle! Though this movie does have a very surprising villain, the Chameleon, and honestly, I really think that they did a good job with creating this villainess for the movie. Her entire stick is brainwashing Zen, even though she wanted to change sides, which of course she convinces her that it's not worthy to convince size, and she also wants to steal people's essences. I'm not even kidding. She wants to steal people's essences so that way there she can become the ultimate warrior and the ultimate shapeshifter because she steals their kung fu powers.
Man, you come right out of a comic book.
Yeah, I'm not even kidding. This sounds like something that you would find right out of a comic book, and it becomes even more better the more that you dive into it, and also the ending is great. They even pull a Scott program where she changes into Poe, and Poe has to fight his own self, so it's kind of like Scott versus Nega Scott. It's a pretty damn good overall fight, and something I wasn't expecting. And the ending is sweet and short and simple to the point, with Zen becoming the Dragon Warrior, and hopefully an attempt that probably there will be a Kung Fu Panda 5 at least in the future for somewhat. Despite the flaws and the things that I didn't like, Kung Fu Panda 4 holds up as a really damn decent film. Especially how most of my complaints actually were answered and then erased right from my mind, and they did a really good job. However, because it's a children's film, I can accept some of the goofier aspects, but still, because I have to be a smartass, I have to be like, really? You have the chameleon turn into this chimera monster at the end? Okay. But now, before I go into my final thoughts and final rating and everything, when I was talking to a friend of mine who used to work at a Dollar General where I bought this, he told me that the villain Tai Lung from the original movie came forth, and he kind of lied to me. But then again, he kind of was a little on the mentally disabled side, so maybe he might have misspoke by accident. But he told me that Tai Lung basically comes back. Now, he could have been tricking me into saying that it was actually the chameleon in disguise, but the way how I took his words and I thought that it would have been awesome if it was true was, what if Tai Lung taught Poe a new ability that he had to learn in order to take down the chameleon, like teach him and Zen? That would have been interesting. That would have been awesome, to have to kind of like team up with your old enemy. Yeah, it's cliche, and a bunch of movies and TV shows have done this before, but it would have worked. It would have been more interesting. We would have had a very better movie on top of it. That's all that I'm saying. But the story in of itself and the characters are really well done. Even though Zen was kind of like I could see it coming from a mile away, it was still damn impressive with her, and I actually really did fall in love with the character the more times that I watched this movie. And in fact, I've watched it at least by this point about like 6 times, so really gonna get a good understanding of the film and the characters and everything like that. I think that Jet Black still lands it, but I have to say, I love the guy. But it kind of feels like maybe he should step down from the Kung Fu Panda movies and at least broaden his horizons, somewhere else. I mean, the guy have done Bowser and the Minecraft movie, which I've heard not too many good things about. I mean, mixed opinions I've heard here and there. I've heard some people say that they absolutely loved it. Other people say that it's a movie, which means probably bad. I'm not going to check it out myself. I have no interest in checking it out. So yeah, I'm not going to check that one out. But for be far from me, I love Jet Black. Don't think that I'm picking on the guy. I love him, and everything. I grew up with his movies, School of Rock, when I was growing up. Even still to this day, one of my favorite movies that he has ever done. Just period. But yeah, man, I gotta say that Kung Fu Panda 4 is a great movie, even though it is flawed, and hopefully, they won't do the Toy Story thing, because I'm thinking that Toy Story 5 is going to just kind of ruin what the trilogy had done, just like Toy Story 4. So, if they ever do a Kung Fu Panda 5, it's like, don't do this. Don't do this to me. I don't want to see this movie destroyed. I've already seen that with Toy Story. I don't want to relive that again. Don't destroy my favorite animated movie series here. But I will say that Kung Fu Panda 4 is very decently done. I love the voice acting, especially Viola Davis as the chameleon. She's wonderful, and Viola Davis is an actress that knows, how to do things, especially a good comedy blend with it. So she is phenomenal in this role. Jet Black, of course, is phenomenal as well, and I do love Aquafina, even though people said that they hated this movie just because she was in it. I don't get you people sometimes. Just like people saying, Raya and the Last Dragon is a bad movie because Aquafina was in it. Sure, your own opinions, your opinions matter and everything, but I'm just saying it kind of sounds like a dumb opinion, is all I'm saying. So my Funko Pop rating of Kung Fu Panda 4 is a really decently done movie. I mean, you should watch it if you haven't already. I highly recommend it. But my Funko Pop rating for Kung Fu Panda 4, at least to me, is going to have to get a an Aquaman rating because it did rise up above my expectations. It really I went into this with mild expectations, and really I still was blown away by it, even though that my expectations were kind of like in the middle. It still managed to rise above whatever expectations that I had for this movie. I didn't go in low or high. I just went in normal. So my Funko Pop rating of Kung Fu Panda 4 is going to have to be a is going to get an Aquaman rating because it did rise above my expectations and it still was pretty damn good and decent for everything it holds up for. Guys, as always, thank you so much for watching. Be sure to like, share, comment, subscribe, hit that bell icon to be notified every single time I make an upload. But I believe in the vote, I'm white nerdy, keep it on, and be sure to tell me what you thought about Kung Fu Panda 4 in the comment section down below. Also, for fun, what is your absolute favorite Kung Fu Panda movie? Mine is Kung Fu Panda 2, but I'd like to hear you guys' thoughts and opinions in the comments down below as to which one is your just absolute favorite. So, and also, I love the inclusion at the end that there's a joke about where the other characters have been, and they have no voice actors. Now, no Jackie Chan, no Angelina Jolie, no nobody. So it's kind of like we couldn't afford their cameos. They could have done that as a joke, kind of like pull like a Deadpool, with like, where's the Furious Five? We couldn't afford their cameos for this movie. That would have killed the movie. That would have been a really funny joke. That's just me. Also, if you want to help this channel and support it, the best way to do so is by liking, sharing, commenting, subscribing, hitting that bell icon so you're notified every single time I make an upload, and follow me at Twitter with the link in the description down below. And also, if you guys like my videos and never want to miss one, the best way to do so is by clicking that bell icon to be notified every single time I make an upload. But I believe these words. I want you to keep you on. Tell me what you thought about Kung Fu Panda 4 in the comments down below. And until next time, guys, and as always, keep eking on and take care.